Now. Just kidding. Hurry, Nicole. So everyone, today we're speaking on online platforms, different payment systems, the way to sell your things online. And with us is our expert, Nicole.
Yeah, full-blown expert. I went to Don't Know It You, and there's going to be a lot of asking of the crowd to help out with this guy because obviously, much like Kyra's presentation last week, there's a bajillion different ways you can go about it. You can have a website already going and have plugins for that. Maybe you want to do a CSA. There's platforms out there for it. Maybe you want to just have a free, easy little site. Square can do that for you. There's a couple others too. Maybe you want to join something that already exists. That's what the Food Hub's for. And so there's a bajillion things. My research was slim. That's all you can do is skim the surface for something like this, unless you're going to go on and do a master's thesis, which did not happen. But I did get the skinny on some things. I did find some really great resources, which is kind of the most important part of this presentation is there are some smarter people than I have gone through and done a lot more legwork than I. So why redo all the stuff they did? I've got stuff from them that I'm bringing. So a lot of these slides are going to be straight up stolen from other people's work. They get credit for it, but I just screenshotted that. And we can talk about it and we can go into those in a little more detail. And there's a couple big long references lists for things where those compilations and some of those things that I've found are how-to videos. They're really well put together. We're not looking at like explore this website that's about 80 pages long. We're talking here's one lady that's walking you through it, showing you step by step and telling you where the hiccups are. That's the kind of stuff that wheel has been invented. So I'd like to help direct people to that. Oh, let's see if I can screen share. Let's see if I can do this.
I made you the co-host, so you're able to do it.
Oh my God, Becky.
I know.
Let's see. I guess I haven't done this before, so I'm thinking it's this move.
At the bottom.
And then I hit this
a button.
Slide show. Slideshow up. Come on, little guy. There we go. You guys seeing nothing but net right there?
Yes. Oh, it's beautiful. Look at that.
Isn't that so pretty? I spent hours making that paisley.
I can tell you did. Liar.
Okay, so I just mentioned all these different types of platforms. Some of the resources I found line these out for you in full color detail of what different companies, what different services do which of these things. Wrong way. I have to move the faces so I can see my slides. So considerations, some of my research came up with a lot of considerations that might not come as intuitively as others. You know, I'm sure it's pretty obvious we'll need to consider cost and how easy it's going to be, but there are some other things too, like what about your domain name? Do you want a, you know, nicoleslittlefarm.com, or are you okay with it having some kind of strange looking website that's got bit.ly or square something ... And those are things that some of the farmers that were giving these kind of lessons were saying you should think about before you even start looking around. If none of that matters to you and you just want a little landing page where people can just click and buy and be as cheap as possible, great. If you're thinking of longevity where you might want to do online sales beyond the pandemic and really start branching that way because you find it popular or easier for you or just pleasing. Getting a domain name might not be bad. So if you've got a great farm name, it'll cost you a little bit of money, but you go to GoDaddy and get yourself one of those. So that's a consideration. Something else to consider is if you're going to be doing online marketing, how are people going to find out about it? You have a mailing list. Can you get a free MailChimp mailing list? Like Kyra can talk about that. She's set up a few. The mailing list thing was also highly recommended by a lot of the farmers that are talking about this online platform deal. And all the stuff that I've found has been either recorded webinars or written articles or different resource compilations done since coronavirus swept the world. And so this is coming from people that were, windswept from the beginning. They're like, whoa, what is going on? My farmer's market closed, my restaurant's closed. What am I going to do? So the same people that the farmers market coalitions are bouncing ideas off of, these are the same folks that are bouncing ideas out for online platforms and strategies for getting your sales going. So if you're selling at a market and if you have the capability to collect some emails, say, hey, would you like to know when I've got this out next week? If that's something that you would like to do, and get an email list going out there so that people remember you and keep coming back for more. Same with your social media, but look at if you're interested in that kind of thing, then looking into whether or not there's an integration available from the different services might be for you. It's not going to be possible with every option, so that's a consideration. One of the places that I highly borrow from comes from the National Young Farmers Coalition. So they built this little 9-page document. It's a guide. You'll see pretty much the whole thing in this presentation. And it's very easy to find online. And they've got a very thorough list of considerations you might look at for this list isn't about cross-comparing which platform for what, although on the right-hand side, you'll see it really does offer that, but it's got a little bit broader of a question base, questions for you to answer for yourself, whether you want to go into CSAs, whether some of these other options might be more up your alley. This PowerPoint, Jody, we'll make this PowerPoint presentation available afterwards, right? And also there's a link to this whole document later on, so for people to be able to kind of dig their teeth into it. But you can see these are the ones that they have listed on the right hand side are those are pretty much the most popular options that I'm finding. There are more. There are lots. If you just Google e-commerce plugins for WordPress, that's the type of website building, dealio, about a cajillion come up, so that's a mire. Farmers have been collating data on which ones are working, what's best for farmers, and a lot of the ones we're seeing here on the right are actually developed by farmers for farmers. And some of them have been around for a little while. They're, not necessarily brand new. They've been tried and tested. They have different pricing structures. Some can get quite pricey. Some are quite affordable. Here's another list of considerations that I gathered from North Carolina State Cooperative Extension. One of the resources that I found really helpful, I'll get into later, but was produced by them, and the woman who did the webinar also has a handy handout. It's about 2 pages long, and these are some considerations, to really take down and put apart before you even decide what kind of platform you would like. And that continues here, and you can see the rest of her little 2-pager goes in and kind of fleshes out about, I think, 2 dozen of these different options in the skinny with the price and the features. Is it a storefront? Is it a plugin? What do they got really fast? One of the things people might consider if they've never done any online things before is building a straight up website and getting a plugin. And that can be easy, and it doesn't have to be terribly expensive, but it's going to be more expensive than just getting a Square account and getting a free Square page. But you can get really lovely websites that way that might be keepers. So depending on your budget and your longevity, it may be a really good idea really to just start with the cheaper for your option and play around online, and then look at other people's websites, the ones that you admire, and see who they're going through. But I didn't dig too deeply into this. I know that Jerica can speak more to this because she said the last meeting that this is something that she has been doing has been developing websites for people. So I'll turn it over to her in a second. And Jerica, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but Squarespace, that's the one that I've found touted as being kind of the best, but it's going to cost you. They have a monthly fee of $12 to $40 a month. Somebody said about $200 a year is what they were paying. And they also charge 3% of your sales, and then there's also the credit card fee. But you get a beautiful website out of it. So Jerica, could you give us a little skinny on website building?
Yeah, so I use Square because it has the mobile where you can plug it right into your phone and swipe cards. So I thought that would be great for markets and everything, doing a mobile business. I use Wix. I do have a little experience with Weebly, and it connects right to Square like you have in your slide there. It's the main one. Wix used to be able to connect like that, but it just they kind of broke off and did have their own online store platform and built into their web builder, which is kind of neat. But I personally really enjoy Wix. It's really easy to build. You can pick from a template, or you can start from scratch and build it all yourself. And you can have everything from the About Me, a homepage. You can do all kinds of stuff with it. There's what I really like is there's two things: the store, and then you can add a membership page that allows you to have members, and they come and on your page and log into their own special section of the website. So I think that's really great for I don't know how you would incorporate that into a farm situation. Maybe if you have like CSAs or herd shares, be a good thing, so they can log into their member section and see the delivery schedule or pickup schedule or whatever, things like that. I'm not sure. I'm looking at it right now, trying to see if there's anything I can say specifically to it. I just really like how easy it is, because I'm not sorry, I'm not tech savvy. Tech savvy person that can like code a website or anything. So I tried to find something that would let me do it easily, but also look really professional. And Wix, as far as I've seen, is the best. Weebly is really similar to it. I just didn't find it as easy to maneuver and add things the way that I wanted to. You can really customize every little section of what you add to your website on Wix.
And don't forget.
So you can do that without being a real tech hound. You can kind of walk in as a regular person and build a website as long as you got some pretty pictures and some good words.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like I said, that has there's tons of templates you can choose from, and there's even like the one I chose to look at today. It says like Fresh Market, and so it's kind of themed towards what we're talking about right now. So you can pick a themed one and then just put your info in there, or you can build it all from scratch and add different sections to the page and everything. There's different interactive blocks you can add on there, so it'll show a picture and then you put your cursor over it and it has like a little description or quote or something. A lot of different options.
Cool. That sounds easy.
Yeah, and there's like a little menu on the side with bubbly buttons, and you just click on it and it walks you right through everything.
And what's the kind of cost you're looking at with Wix?
Wix is free. There is a premium version of it that gives you access to more stuff, but I've never had to upgrade to the premium. I've gotten everything I needed out of it just from the free portion.
What do they get from you then? If they're giving you a free website out of the deal, what do they get? Just advertising on your site, or?
Well, I haven't used their store platform for that yet, so I'm not sure if there's fees attached to their store. But as far as building the website and using that platform, just to advertise and do like the membership and the blogging or anything like that is free. I haven't had any costs attached. I don't even think I've put my card information.
So this is a website builder. You haven't paid anything for it, that you've gotten to build a website and use it, and you haven't had to pay them anything?
No, I haven't had to pay anything. I just created an account.
Okay, that sounds like magic. Everybody look at that website next. There are some others that do a similar function. I have Shopify listed on here, but there are some, so Shopify and some of these other ones that are geared towards farms are also plug and play website builders. That'll create gorgeous little websites for you, and you can have the best pictures in the world, and you're going to have a sexy, sexy website. But you're going to pay for it. Shopify, I believe, is $59 a month or something like that. And I could be wrong. There's a price listing in one of these further down slides, but it costs you. Door is similar, and there's another one called Gray's Cart. And Gray's Cart got a lot of really great reviews. I can talk about that a little more later, but this is an example of a Shopify page. And so it functions just like a regular web page. You can parcel out all of your different items into separate pages and make it easier for the customer. I'm not certain, but I'm imagining you can have an About Us page. And that was one of the recommendations with building a website that I found pretty strongly worded, was that people want to invest in the farm and the farmer and their family. And so that goes along with your Facebook page or whatever social media, if you got that going on too, is that people want to see a story and they want to be a part of that story and they want to buy from you. They don't just want to buy a carrot. So if you build a website, having a little About Us section is kind of important. And also it's great to put on there about your growing practices. If you can brag about your growing practices and center, seemingly that's a pretty thumbs up way to go.
Nicole, I did want to add one thing. So I think the main reason why Wix is able to have a free or extensive free portion is you don't automatically get the jericasfarm.com. Okay, so you know how it does do that such and such at wixsite.com, the longer generic one that has their site linked into there. So you do have to pay for a domain separately. I pay for my domains through Microsoft. It's $12 a year, and I find that pretty cheap.
Yeah, that sounds like a really good way to go. So at that point, you would be able to have a yourfarm.com instead of a Wix / something crazy / something something.
Right.
Excellent. Let's see what my next slide shows. Oh, Kyra, you're up.
All right.
One of the things that, I'll talk a little bit later, maybe after the PowerPoint. I've got some notes that I've taken from some of these presentations and things I've witnessed about a few of the different individual platforms. But here's a platform that we'd like to show for sure. Alaska Food Hub. Robbie runs it. It's for Kenai Peninsula producers right now. It had branched into Anchorage for a while, but it's been going strong for a little while, and Kyra's going to tell us about it.
I am, but Robbie can feel free to jump in anytime. Some of the people on this call use it as well. Presently, this is a platform, like there's Etsy for crafters. You know, you can post on there, you can sell there. The Alaska Food Hub is for farmers. So also, you can food crafts, things like that, you can at a farmer's market. So basically, Alaska grown, Alaska created stuff is on the site. We have several farmers that sell on it, as well as jam makers. Robbie, in all of her magic, has managed to get a waiver so that we can sell cottage food on here. Cottage food is the sort of thing where typically the law says it's great if you can sell these fairly safe foods like bread and jam and sauerkraut to somebody straight, like face-to-face sales. But we have managed to convince the DEC that this is basically a face-to-face sale. You know exactly who you're buying from. And so the traceability is strong enough that they're letting us also sell stuff like that on here. So what Nicole has pulled up is our products page. You can see we have oysters, eggs, and then different vegetables. Typically at this time of the year, people are selling starts, but we also do have some flowers, tulips, things like that that are coming up, as well as a few of like the root cellar kind of things can pop up at this time of the year. I don't know what kind of slides you have here, Nicole.
Just have this one and then the producers page.
Okay, let's click to the producers page. This is a clip of all the different farms, and so when you click on the web page, you know, I just might actually, can you stop screen share and I'll just share the web page live and walk people through it?
Mm-hmm.
So, oh, the host disabled participant screen sharing. So you've got to be a co-host. You tricky wicket, you, Jody. Always making it complicated for me. Okay, so thank you, Jody. That was amazingly quick. Can everybody see that? I can't hear anybody. Let's see.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. Okay. Yes. I couldn't. My chat box was covering your guys' photos. Okay. So this is Alaska Food Hub. If you hit Shop the Marketplace, that's alaskafoodhub.org. It'll take you to another platform, and you can see at the top here it says Local Food Marketplace. That's the platform that this is under. So just like Nicole was stating that sometimes Wix or Square will have all of these other names attached to your URL. We bought an ordinary URL and then it gets directed to this page. So the products list presently, this is all of the stuff that's available. It's not showing a lot of, actually it does have a lot on here, but right now, today's Thursday, so farmers can be putting on more things until Friday. At the time on Friday that it opens up to sales to customers, we encourage people to have all of their stuff posted by then. And as you can see, we're selling everything Alaskan. So this site is not, as long as it's Alaskan, it's possible to sell on the site. The tricky wicket though, is where they are. So our producers, let's go to the producers list. Notice Kasilov, Soldotna, Homer, Juneau, but we're not selling in Juneau. We do get the products from Barnacle Seafoods from down there, but most of our vendors are on the peninsula, and most of our sales drops are on the peninsula presently. We are having discussions because of COVID. There's been interest in starting up other drop sites around the state. So we'll have to do some trials and see how that'll work. But sales right now have skyrocketed due to COVID and everybody being fascinated with local food and seeing it as more important than they often have in the past, and prioritizing it in their shopping list. So we also have vendors who can't sell very easily at their storefronts. So for example, this K-Bay Coffee Company, they don't have an open restaurant anymore. So they're selling their coffee on here. Even though they've got their own website, they recognize that this is a place that people from anywhere could go to. So we have drop-off locations in Homer, Soldovia, which is south of here across the bay. We have it flown in. And then we have drop-off locations up the road, Ninilchik and Soldotna. So farmers can post their items on here. Let's check out Jackaloff Bay oysters. Each one, when you click on it, has a page of their own. So it has their contact information, a logo and a photo, has some information about their practices, what the farmer does, and then it shows the items that they often have for sale. So you can drill into every producer, and if you are a producer, you can put as much information on this page as you can squeeze, and you can also direct people to another, your own website or whatever. So it's really great for people who are just trying to sell some garden surplus, as well as a professional farmer or a professional vendor who has stuff that they need to sell. So it's pretty adaptive. I'm going to go back to the product list. There are, you'll notice all of these oysters, for example, there's 1 dozen. You can get them by the fluid ounce if you buy them shucked, and you can get different sizes. So each one of those becomes a different item that gets sold. You, as a vendor, get a list on Tuesday of what sold over the weekend, and you get it ready for delivery on Wednesday. So as a vendor, you don't have to produce or package or harvest any of these things until you know it's sold already. So there is benefits on that. A lot of these online sales, that is the benefit. You're not going to a farmer's market and guessing if people are going to shop and buy there, especially with COVID unknowns. I think a lot of vendors are really looking forward to that, are appreciating that. So that is one of the aspects of having a structure that's already in place and you just have to plug into it. The Alaska Food Hub is going to be doing all of the marketing for you. They're emailing out to the customers. They're saying, hey, get on the Food Hub this Friday and check out what we've got. And oh, don't forget, it's Monday. This is the last day to make your order before we do drop off on Wednesday. So a lot of that Facebook advertising, things like that, is all provided by the Food Hub. So you just plug in your stuff and you forget about it and you get a pick ticket on Tuesday. So there are really strong benefits of doing this, but of course there's also an overhead. So they have 25% markup on the products. And so you have to calculate that into your price. You can charge more if you want to. If you want to keep your prices similar to what you would get at the farmer's market, so your customers see that, oh, he always charges me $5 for carrots or something at the market. I'm paying $5 here on this online market, and you want to keep that consistent, then you're going to have to actually take a cut. So it'd be more like a wholesale item. If you're throwing things on here and it's like, oh, I charge $5 at the farmer's market, but I'm going to charge $7 here, then you just have to calculate what your perceptions of your customers are going to be on here. Robbie says, no, charge whatever the heck you want to charge. No, fill in there, Robbie.
Something else, sorry.
Something else. Okay, good. I saw you shaking your head and I was like, oh. But anyway, so it does take a little bit of modification in your marketing plan because it's kind of technically a wholesale since you're getting that markup there. And as a vendor, you can choose how you're going to do it. Charge more on here or take less. But that's a business plan thing. Anyway, so that is a real quick summary, really haphazard and lots of information on the Food Hub for you, Nicole. I don't know if you have more or if you want me to highlight any more things on there, but.
One thing I'd add to that is, so you can create a product list, a big, wide-ranging product list, but you might not have all those things ready. And so each week you need to go on and pick what things you have and how much of it you have from your list of things, and you can add to it. And that same thing would go with a lot of, if you're going to have an online storefront, you kind of really should be doing that anyway. You should be doing a weekly, what do I got? And most of these will have an option for you to have an inventory and a cap. So once you sell that many things, it's done. You're not overselling. But that's something, if you want to go the route of any of these online, including the Food Hub, you got to remember that once a week you got to get an accounting of what you have available and what you want to put on there. Anything else, Kyra?
Can I add something?
Yeah, Robbie?
Yeah, so as a producer on the Food Hub, the longer you participate, you get these amazing reports that can help you when you are planning your crops. Brad's looking funny, sorry. When you're planning out your garden for the next year, so you can kind of see when the peaks and when you've sold out of product. So, hey, maybe next year I double this because it sold super well. Everything I've listed on there sold. So that's the only thing I wanted to add.
If I saw in the chat box correctly that was popping up while Kyra was talking, Tracy, did you say you sold 75% of your stuff in 4 hours?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. This year I've done more on the Food Hub than I have in the first 3 weeks of the Food Hub than I have ever in my 3 or 4 years of doing the Food Hub. It is just nuts. It's awesome.
Dang.
So
Robbie, did you say you had 3 times the sales as compared to last year? Wow,
That's a yes.
that's way cool.
And as a producer, it's really, really easy to set up. You know, once you get set up to go in every week and update what you have available, is so simple.
Can I get a testimonial, Tracy, on that?
Sure. It is. It's just, it's easy to handle. So for those that are happier in the greenhouse than playing in the computer, it really does help.
that's awesome. So I have a question for you, Nicole. Do you have the Tanana Valley Virtual Farmers Market in your presentation here?
No, can you show it?
Oh, hey, how about I share that screen right now?
Yeah, that sounds good. I'll stop attempting to share this one.
Okay. All righty. So Brad, you want to walk us through this?
Yeah, sure. So essentially what I came up with is a virtual farmers market. And all it really is, if you click on that, please visit our evolving virtual market page. It's just a pretty link page. So all of my vendors, or many of them, have put together their own online stores. And what we've done is it's just a portal to their store. So it's just a link. They've got their picture and their description, and then they're responsible for populating their own stores. What I was trying to do is not have to manage this. All I wanted to do was set up these squares and their description and their link, and people can pre-order, pick up on at the market, or at the top there you can either do pick up at the market or figure out offsite pickup. So some people are using it quite a bit for plant sales. One of our vendors, basically Basil, it had a lot of pre-orders. I mean, it's free. This is just on our website already. It was just another page that we added to our WordPress and made all these links. And I feel like as the manager, already managing a market instead of managing two, a virtual and a physical, I mean, I'm kind of managing it just by like populating it, but not having to deal with, hey, remember to populate your store and order today, stuff like that. So I feel like it's working. It's definitely a little more hands-off than going to some platform where, you know, I was trying to think of how I would be, I don't want to aggregate. I don't want to take, you know, different vendor stuff and put it together. I don't have the staff to do that. So this is kind of the result of those things. So yeah.
That's rad.
Looks
It
great.
worked. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you, Brad. And that's the sort of thing that I could imagine that if all you had was a Alaska Food Hub page, you could link to that page specifically, and they would suddenly find themselves in the Food Hub and they'd be able to order. So really, that would work for no matter what kind of online platform that Nicole presents today. You could have linked to your farmers market collective virtual market.
And, you know, we have some people that have like an Etsy store. That's where it takes you. Some people set up a Square store, and some people do whatever different. Some people just have a phone number, and you call them, like the taco guy. It's just a phone number, and you can call and order your tacos, and you pick them up at the market that day. And so it's just whatever works for that individual vendor. It doesn't have to be an online store. It could be an email or whatever you feel most comfortable with. Yeah.
That seems really well-rounded and really easy.
It was pretty easy. And I didn't have to do most of the work. The vendors did.
Cool. Well, hey, get out of there. What's going on here? Okay, let me get back to this thing. Give me a second here to figure this out. Talks amongst yourselves. I have to get back to where I'm at Zoom and the thing.
There you go.
Okay. Okay, let's see, where were we? Okay, we were at the Food Hub. Let's see. Okay, what do we got next? Square sites. Okay, these things are crazy popular. You get a Square account. You can use their little Square weeder at your farmer's market stand or however you're selling your stuff, and then bang, free website. Scott Miller is on the call. He has built one. Also, Evelyn, you've worked with that as well, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
Yes, I have.
Okay, so I found some things, but I'd like for you guys also to share your experience. One thing is that Squarespace and Square are not equivalent, so that can be an easy name mix-up because there's Squarespace, Square Up. Square Up is tied to Square purchasing software, the purchasing, you know, the swipies and the way that you buy things. Squarespace is the website designers. But the resource that I found that was the best for this is this webinar that I've got on the slide here. It's the woman from the North Carolina Cooperative Extension Service, Debbie Ruse. She goes through and really simplifies everything, and even on an already simple deal. Basically, any hang up, anything that you might get snagged on, she walks through pretty quickly. She builds a site in front of you in 40 minutes.
Whoa.
So it's pretty cool. But some of the things about Square, so the free online store, you can link to your social media and your MailChimp. You can do e-gift cards, which is something that, something that, know about. You can have people buy gift cards for your business if you're a Square user, and they can give them as gifts. They can do whatever they want with them. So that's something that you could push. We do offer places on there to do your curbside pickup or delivery information. Right now, that fee that they would normally charge is waived for coronavirus, but they may pick that fee back up, not sure. One thing that Square sites are not great for is if you have variable weights on your product. So if you're selling meat, for example, and it's not in preset blocks of poundage, you can't really do that very well with the Square websites. You can do 2 pickup locations if you want, so you could do it so that people can choose to pick up at the farmer's market or at your farm. That's pretty cool. One of the things that the lady recommends is to preview your store before publishing it. So you go through all the trouble and you make, you click all the buttons and you put in all the pictures, but to go ahead and look at it and try it out, buy something from yourself, see how it works, see what the back end and the front end feel like, see what that email is going to look like going to your customers and what email going back to you will be, see if there are any snags in the payment process. You can get a friend to go and look at it for you too before you publish it online. Get a friend to give it a once over and see if they notice any glaring omissions or things that are incorrect. One of the other points that this lady made that I thought was worth sharing is how you word things matters in terms of what that week's sales is. So if you've got a tab up there that says available this week, May 16th through 23rd, but if you're not going to be going regularly and changing that, it's going to look outdated if next week it says that. So if you don't feel like you're going to go in and regularly update that piece, you could just have it say available this week and you're going to look current. But making sure you look current on your website is really important. Domain name thing, you can get the Square one. That comes free, and edit it. You can, if you already own your own domain name, you can use that. So for options, they cost a little bit different with the Square. You might have to pay attention in order to use a real domain name. And was that all my advice from my fantastic webinar lady? I do believe so. Scott, Evelyn, can either of you guys chime in on your experience?
Yeah, I'm not a tech guy. I'm sure all of you are more techie than me. My information is 20 years out of date, so none of that works anymore. I got Square because that's what I've been using for credit cards, and the website links up nicely with your sales. So if you sell something in person, it takes it off the website or marks it as sold, so you're not overselling things. So I'm doing craft, so it's a little different. Took forever to input 100 different items one by one and descriptions and all that. Yeah, I decided to go with my own domain name. In the middle of the process, changed my mind, went and bought a domain name for $12 a year, and then Square charges me $9 a month to be able to do that. And you can keep going up from there. You can spend more and get rid of all the Square advertising, spend more and get some marketing tools. But I'm starting out simple, and even if you go ahead and publish with a messed up website, it's really not likely that anybody's going to see it anytime soon, because you just don't get listed or found that easily, I'm finding. But that's another rabbit hole. But I found the setup was really easy, step-by-step instructions, videos. The customer service was good, but slow because they're all quarantined too. So just by flailing around, you can pretty well figure things out. One hang up was photographs. There are some specific things about the photographs that if I'd read first would have saved me a day's work, probably. So read all the instructions first. Don't do like I did.
What is it about the photographs that got you hung up?
The sizes. I was thinking I should make them smaller, like when you're going to email a photo, but they have to be large files or they don't show up right. And then you can tweak the aspect ratios to make them look right. And for me, they're still too large. My work looks better when it's normal size and you don't blow it up and see every little mess up I did on it. But that's the thing about these Square sites, they're not that flexible. You don't have many choices and you got to plug into their system. But that's great if you're a beginner. You don't have to think about a lot of things, just do what they say. And it wound up looking pretty good, I think. Yeah, I didn't want the gobbledygook Square, blah, 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 slash wooden diamonds. It seemed worth $9 a month to do.
Well, Scott, since Kyra's got admin privileges on this meeting, can we look at your site? What's your
Sure.
site?
woodendiamonds.com. Yeah, and they don't charge. There's no fees except for your normal credit card fee. That's a little bit higher on the online store, 2.9% plus 30 cents. Same as if you do an invoice. Oh, you found it.
There you are.
Picture of the bay, apropos of nothing.
So shop all.
You got to look at the Square.
There we go. Yeah. Yep.
So it's pretty simple. It's just a place where people can buy stuff. No extras.
We just wanted to brag about your work. That's all.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Each of these items you add has so much information. Is it for delivery? Is it for mail? What's it made out of? Descriptions, photos, taxes, all kinds of stuff.
There you are. Yeah. Perfect. All right, I'll let you get back to it, Nicole.
For those who don't know, Scott, you're the president of the board of the farmers market. Is that it, Homer?
Yes. Yes.
Thought I'd throw that out there. Shout out.
And he's one of those who is still supporting our farmers market with great fervor, even though he has gotten kicked out of the market this year because we're not having crafters in our market. So, yay, Scott.
Well, thank you.
So Evelyn, did you can you add to that since you've also worked with Square?
I can. So I actually started with the Square processing slider thing for my credit card processing, because pretty much everybody has debit and credit cards now and hardly uses money. So I started with that in 2017. So in order to get a receipt for that, you can either text or email it to yourself. So I can just, I've already captured their email. So one of the bonuses with the Square online store is that you can do, like you were saying, a marketing thing, and you can export all the emails. And I exported them and then entered into the Gmail. So I just have to type in and made it a group. So I just have to type in customer, and I can just mass email out to everybody from my E&A Produce Gmail account what I have for this week and what's coming up, when orders are due and everything. And mine is when I do orders every 2 weeks, and I have them due by the Wednesday of the week, and then they like on here, that's my website that Kyra so kindly put on. So you can see what's new this week. So of course there's cherries and peaches and pears, and then it tells you how to shop, and then you just go online and you can just click shop all, or I have it, you can separate out by categories. So I have like a fruit, veggie, and bread category, or non-food category. So if somebody's looking for something specific, there's not that much on there because I try not to offer too much, but you can see the side categories there. So there's soaps, bath bombs, and more, because I sell Denali Dreams products, as well as Barnacle Foods, Indian Valley Meats. I try to sell a lot of Alaskan producer stuff. So, and I'm looking to add for some more options that I can offer. So it's it was super easy to convert everything from, because I just use the app on my phone, and it's easy to enter all your items onto the app here. I don't know how well it'll show, but super easy to enter all the items on the app here. And it just took everything from that information and just converted it magically for me. I had to fix some stuff and make it look better, add prices, update prices, or whatever I needed to do. I chose to go with the free one, which is 0 monthly fees. And then they just charge a credit card transaction fee of 2.9% plus 30 cents per transaction. So it's, for me, it's the best option. Even though I have to pay a little bit of a fee, I just kind of figure that into my prices. I mean, I already have to figure in extra. Out here it's 75 cents per pound for freight, so I already have to figure in an extra cost for that. So I just include it into the extra cost of the extra into the total price. But it's worked amazingly well. It's super. There have been some hiccups, and some people have said, hey, I had errors and it won't get off the error page, blah blah blah. So I'm like, no problem, let me know what you want to order, and I just pull up the app on my phone and I type it in for what they want to order, and I can email them an invoice and they can pay it online. So that's super cool that if they or if they want to pay cash or check, I just email them an invoice, and then I just get that when I deliver. I get the cash or check from them when I deliver their product. So it's been working super well. And that t-shirt was actually designed, there's a local t-shirt printing company here in New Haven. So the gentleman, he designed that for me, and then his wife printed them. So I try to buy as much and encourage as much as Alaskan made, produced, reproduced, second produced, whatever products as I can from what I think will sell here. So
Great.
the Square has been a game changer for sure.
Awesome.
Yeah, beautiful t-shirt design. Nicole is
I was trying to talk. So you did all that from your phone, invoicing, making the website, changing it around. That's all straight phone?
So making the invoice, I did it on my laptop. That the invoicing you can do just straight from your phone. It's super easy to do invoices from your phone. You just click it, you just put in what items a person wants. You just go to charge and you select invoice, and then from there you just send it directly to their email. They get the email, and And then once they get the email, there's a link to click and they can just pay their invoice online and everybody's happy. And then the Square just deducts their fee directly from that price. And then the remainder just goes into my bank account once, either the next day, or if it's on a Friday, it'll go in on Monday. You can pay fees and have it rushed, but there's no need to pay extra fees. There's already enough fees in the world, in my opinion. So I just let it go in when it goes in, and we're all happy. So
nice. That sounds really, really convenient. And I saw when Kyra had the T-shirt up there, the add to cart and the shopping cart. Do people like to just leave a cart open and come back for more, or cash out right then?
You can upgrade, and you can see what carts have been abandoned, and then have Square send an email so that, hey, are you still interested in this or whatever. But I don't want to pay the extra fees to upgrade the site. I mean, it's already expensive enough to buy food out here that if I were to buy a fancy website, it would just increase my costs, and I just have to, of course, pass that on to the consumer. So I just try to do things as cheaply as I can, and so there is that option for people that are interested, but I have no desire to go there.
I was just curious. I saw the cart. I'm like, how does that, like, if they don't cash out, if they just kind of like get distracted, what happens,
Well, luckily my customer base is so small that if somebody hasn't sent me their order by Tuesday afternoon, I'm like, hey, did you mean to place the order? And they're like, oh yeah, I started an order. Let me get it finished. And then the nice thing too about this online system is every time somebody makes an online order, it shoots me an email directly to my Gmail account. And then I just print out, I have deliveries tomorrow. So I just print out all my emails, and then that's my packing list, and that's their receipt too. So it's just super easy that just goes straight to my email, and I can just print them out in one batch. And then from the emails too, I make my, what do I need to order this week list, and figure out, okay, this is what all I need to order and how many cases of everything I need to order, so that there's hardly any waste. Whereas before I'm like, oh, maybe I need 1 case of cabbage and maybe I need 3 cases of blueberries, but it was all such a guessing game. So this is so much better.
One of the things I understand with the Square site, and I could be wrong, but you can put a limited inventory in there too. So I've got 12 boxes of this available, and it'll cut people off from being able to buy it. You're not going to have to disappoint anybody. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So the only thing I got to do is just keep my husband out of the jerky inventory so it doesn't knock my inventory off. So that's the toughest part of controlling the inventory. But other than that, it's really great because I can buy like a case of apple chips or whatever, and I know I have 12. And so once the 12 sell, then it'll say out of stock online, and then I can look on there and I can just look at my storage room and see, oh, I need to order apple chips or whatever, or I only have 4 bags left. And so, oh, but I have 4 bags already ordered for this week. So that prompts me to know that I need to go ahead and order some more for next week. So it's, yeah, the inventory thing is huge. It's awesome.
Excellent. They got it figured out, it sounds like. Okay. Let's see here. Yeah. Come on, you can do it, computer. There we go. Okay, so another free way to go is using a Google form. And this is kind of an odd duck. This isn't a regular website. This is a link to a Google form. If you've got a Gmail account, you can have access to Google Drive. And through Google Drive, you can make these little surveys. And the survey can be used as an order form. And so if you have a website, you can make a link to the survey. This is an example from a webinar I saw. This is a pig farm's order form. They don't show you the whole thing, but basically it doesn't cost you anything, but it also, you can't do any of that inventory back end on there. It's not interactive in that way. It's you make a list of things you have on offer, and people will, choose from the options. It's checkboxes or it's multiple choice or however you want to do it. And you can link it to your PayPal account or anything like that, but it won't won't keep track of things. And so the lady was speaking on doing this was talking about how it's great for if you got 20 or fewer orders, but if you start getting above that, it gets really complex really fast. How you find out your orders is the Google form will take all that data and you can have it turned into an Excel spreadsheet. And so the rows, the columns of the spreadsheet will be the questions. So that's one bunch of carrots, that's one, a dozen eggs, or that's however you divide out your sales. And then the row will be the customer. And so it will have a spreadsheet for you. But once you start getting really complicated, then you're looking at making a lot more work for yourself, trying to figure out who pre-ordered and what all you got to do. And you can do it so that you have a couple different places they can pick it up. You can have them choose the option for pick it up at the farmer's market or pick it up at your farm. You're offering delivery. You can have that option. You can have them fill in their information, their address. You can collect their email addresses, and if you're going to do any sort of newsletter or mailings, you can collect it that way, or their phone numbers or any of that information. It's free. It's pretty easy, but it's not ideal if you're expecting more than kind of a handful of orders. There's a couple more pieces of advice here, but I'm not going to run through this piece of paper that I've got. Anybody have any questions about the Google form?
Honestly, I never even thought about using Google Forms for ordering, and it makes sense because they do compile all the data for you, but it could get out of hand really fast. So
and you'd have to do it every week. So you see here, she's got that week. So you'd have to have that linked to, I don't know, your social media, your website, or some sort of other place where people can click a button, get to the Google form and fill it out. But you're going to have to update that every week for sure. It can't just stand alone because otherwise, it's a never-ending order. But okay, so that's the Google form. Yeah.
That might work best for something that's like this is a pre-order. So you're not necessarily paying for it right there. So it's just getting it so that the vendor knows what they need to get put together. So like if you were offering up bread, you could have all these pre-orders and people would tell you what they wanted. And so you could bake 20 loaves of bread and be ready and then just take money on site. So that might be one way to go about it.
Oh, I forgot to mention that with the Google form. So what this gal did was they review all the orders and then they input them into their Square. So they are integrating it with their Square, but they're having to do it manually. And then the Square sends an invoice to the customer. So they can, people are buying online with it, and it's a pre-ordered deal. You're using your credit card, but there's a little bit of a, it's simple, but at the same time, it's not quite as straightforward as like that Square store is. Okay, so from that Young Farmers Coalition guide that we looked at the beginning, this is a checklist of all these different, you see at the top, you see all these different options and what they're good for. Are they good for CSAs? Are they good for a standalone website? It's a great resource, this checklist. If you're looking for anything more than just the Google form or the Square spot, if you're looking, they actually use one of these ready-made services, then all of these on here are farmers. There's a billion of them. There's more than this. But these are all services for farmers to sell online. It's kind of, there's way more to it than I would have ever guessed. But link to this document will be included here at the end. Here's some more from that same document. They also run through each of those items and give you a skinny, the cost and a rundown of what they do. So there's those ones. All these guys grown. So let's look at some of these. Barn to door is a little on the pricey side, but it's one of those ones that will hold your hand and walk you through it if you're not feeling, if you're feeling like something fancier, but don't want to do much work. So they'll give you a really fancy place, and they'll, if you just give them the pictures and your prices and your items, they'll do it all for you, but you're paying for it. what else do we got on this one? This Eco Firms is really intriguing. It's a cheaper one, but not a lot of people are talking about that one. Let's see here, Gray's Cart. So Gray's Cart is the one, and initially was built for people doing meat sales because it's got that variable weight option. But some of the folks that I was listening to really, really like it. It's a powerful platform. You get a lot of them and Spotify. They both apparently have enough users that they've got really secure platforms. Some of these platforms that are smaller, was reading, you have to be concerned about, hackers trying to get at it. But this is one of the better ones. It does not work with WordPress. So if you wanted to link it to a website that's using WordPress, it won't work. The pricing is variable for it. So if you go with the cheap route, it'll give you a landing page, but not much else. Where was I going with that? So you don't have to have the website though. It'll stand alone. It's very interactive. The one drawback that I really saw about it was that you have to make an account as a customer, and some of these you will have to do that too. And for us in Alaska, that might be a consideration because people don't necessarily want to put their information on a buying website. They just want to buy the stuff. So this is one of the ones that makes you do it. So you can't just go on there as a customer and be a guest. You have to, and it's free and it's easy, but it's, it might be a turnoff. So that's something you might want to take into consider. Grown By is one that's is been made by this same group who made this document, the Young Farmers Coalition. They made this Grown By. It's pretty cheap. It's for CSA though. It's not so much for a standalone website. There are really good tutorials on some of these, like the Gray's Cart, the Local Line, on the Shopify, and a couple others. In the references section back here at the end of this presentation, there's really great how-to and what not to do's with these, written by farmers or made by farmers. So here's the resource links from these folks. These are a lot of the things that I found on my own too, and this PowerPoint will be available. But if you're curious to find out more beyond the square and you want to kind of get a better sense of some of these other platforms, that's a great one. And here's the one that I put together from what I was using. And I think that's the last slide I got. So let's get off my screen.
That was fantastic, Nicole. Brilliant.
There's some other things I got in these notes. I'll put myself on mute and see if there are any good juicy bits I should share.
So does anyone have any thoughts, any chats, anything to add or subtract from what's been said? Any positives or new directions? Heidi.
Well, I thought this was super helpful, and a condensed version is, I certainly hope will go on our resources page on Alaska Farmers Market Association. So anybody with a question of, gee, I don't have even a website, let alone a sales platform, where do I start? And it will be right there. So thank you for your research, Nicole and Kyra.
I give all the credit to Nicole. I went down the rabbit hole on the touchless payments. She's did all of this, but it's awesome to see all of the different ways that people, especially right now, can go online. And I like Nicole's point about how you can analyze it. Do you want this to be a long-term thing, or do you want to just get it taken care of for this summer while the COVID thing's knocking everything out of norm? Or like Evelyn says, we're not going to have a farmer's market, but I'm selling so much more. So maybe this is going to be the new way to do things. It's good to be able to adapt and know what we've got as options.
Speaking of new things, I made my first Cash App touchless transaction yesterday. And I was talking to a vendor and I said, hey, do you have Cash App? And she said, what's Cash App? And I told her, well, it's the new thing that's up and coming and taking the place of Venmo. And she said, well, I've got Venmo, I've got Apple Pay. In about 30 seconds, she had Cash App on her phone, and I was able to send her my $32. And she was very happy. So just, that was a quick setup thing.
Awesome.
Yep. I think the more, one as I'm saying with this whole COVID thing is that people are learning to shop online for local things. Like you can order your to-go things from your restaurants. You can order, all of these things with people shopping online for local stuff. And so the easier we can make these habits of making easy sales local using technology or whatever, I think it's going to be awesome. And I think it'll stick long after this is over.
Mm-hmm.
Fingers crossed. Yeah, exactly. No, this is so cool. And I think that what's interesting to me is how there's suddenly there's an expectation that people have these abilities to do, online payments or, touchless payment systems, or even, like, Evelyn, how do I know what you're selling this week? I'll just go to your website, right? And you're like, if you don't have a website, if you don't have that opportunity, and, Scott, not all of us are technologically, masterful. And so I think it's awesome what you've got, and how you're doing it is, I wouldn't know that you didn't know how to program a website. I mean, it's set up beautifully. It's very user friendly. It's all right there. And Evelyn's is the same way. And I'm seeing more and more of that. And I think it's really cool that this is, a direction that we're all heading in, and maybe in a good way.
One of the things that was one of the points that I found that was made was that not only might this stick, but people that might not have bought local food might be trying it now. And this lady's like, once you taste my fresh stuff, you're not going to want to go back to the store. So if we are putting a good online presence out there now and cultivating it, it could lead to further sales. And that's the same story with what I kept seeing over and over is cultivate those email lists, get emails every chance you can, because if things should go back to normal anytime, it can't hurt to remind people that you're there and that you're the guy that sold them that great stuff. Two things that I wanted to mention about that last slide that I had, some of those references that I put up there. One of them goes into good detail about shipping frozen things. So if you've got things, and shipping in general, but if you've got things that need to stay cold and you want to ship them to other parts of the state, that thing's a straight up how-to list. It's got what about the packaging? What about the this? You need, tells you about the heat, all the things. And it also goes through the whole Shopify, setting up a Shopify store, but it's got points for consideration on just making a web store. You don't have to use Shopify. So that's the first one. That's from Alder Springs Farms. And there's another one that's a Delivery 101, and that's from Barn to Door. And so if you're planning on doing any sort of deliveries from your farm, if you're thinking about driving things to people's houses, that might be a good one for you too.
Cool. Evelyn,
the one about Square, and there's a couple others.
That's so awesome. Those resources are amazing, and I'm really stoked to get that out. That more people can share in it. I think it's great. I think that if you guys aren't reading the chat box, you should read the chat box, because that statement says it all. I mean, it's perfect. We do need to be excited about our stuff, and not just our stuff, but our friends' stuff and the whole market stuff, and all of us supporting each other. I mean, and this is what community is about, and so it's amazing. And the fact that we're not suggesting that this technology take the place of this human contact, but in you know, for the time being. It's what we got, but you know, it's a really great opportunity to continue or expand or explode your business. Tracy's freaking out. She's selling more than she's ever sold. Evelyn's selling more than she's ever sold. Brad and his market, it's the best opening day they've had. I mean, it's just like, what? And I think it's, you know, let's harness this perfect storm of, oh my gosh, people are aware of local food now, and oh my gosh, we have farmers markets here, and you know, like all the things. Like I think that what you guys are doing is capitalizing on this in a really good way, in a really positive way, and you're using some new technologies, but you're not becoming a machine doing what you're doing. You're still that really important human contact. I mean, I think it's like you guys are doing it all and have it all, and people are responding to that. That's why you're getting these amazing sales, is because people are appreciating it. I mean, I am. I don't care what they think, but no, I'm just kidding. I just think it's just super cool. And, you know, and Evelyn's going to keep like slowly moving in more Alaska products. And then all of a sudden, all she's doing is selling Alaska products. And none of her people are like, wait, what? And yeah, exactly. Fingers crossed, right? I mean, this is how it works. And it's super exciting to see the stuff that you guys are working on and doing, and just like biting the bullet, Scott, and going forward and making it happen. I think that's just amazing. So yay.
One last thing, if I could interject though, with the online sales, I think it's even more important to remember that there is a customer on the other line of that online sale. So that I started printing these little thank you cards, and it tells them when the next, let's see. So, it's backwards,
wow.
But so it tells them when the next orders are. It has my phone number on it. And then just because we're all in this together, it has some jokes on the back, and it has, don't forget Mother's Day was that day. And then it has a recipe of the week too. So just like a little tiny newsletter. And so I've expanded it to a full sheet this week, but so this has like the summer schedule, since I have fully decided there won't be any markets. So this has the whole summer schedule, so they can just put it on their refrigerator or whatever. And then on the back side, it's going to have the jokes or recipes or whatever. I got to create that tonight, figure that all out. But just anything. And I've included, like, Denali Dream Soap was giving away a whole bunch of free soap. So I've included a free soap for them, a roll of toilet paper. I mean, anything just to keep the customer thinking, hey, just going above and beyond, because it is tough this time. Everybody's going through a lot of stuff, no matter where you are. So just anything I can do for my customers, I'm gonna do it.
That's amazing. Brilliant. Wow. Yeah, and I think too, like another amazing thing in the chat is everybody's responding to great things Evelyn's doing, and then also the fact that a lot of us are more careful with our money, and we're spending it more purposefully, maybe that's the right word, or we're making more decisions. That's funny. Yeah, Nicole, you need to get an order from Evelyn. That makes sense to Homer. But I think it's true. Like, again, capitalizing on the fact that people are aware of local now more so than before, and that they're making choices to sell and buy local, and take advantage of it, Oh yeah, that's a good question. And Janelle, where are you located? We'll see where Janelle is. And Jeanette is about ready to be located in Tok as they move over to Tok for a few weeks, and then they'll be back to the central Kenai area. Yeah, this is super cool. I am just So Hanson Heritage Homestead, that's a really long name, but what do you guys do there? What are you growing? What are you building or making or reproducing, or what's happening there? You can talk. Starts
Produce and flowers.
Nice.
Oh, yeah.
Very cool. I think that I know that here in the Valley, several of the garden clubs, the Master Gardeners Club, are doing their heritage poultry. There's the heritage poultry. Yes. They're doing lots of online sales, and they've never done that before, and they're just doing it. It's so funny. Bless their hearts. I really love the group, but they're doing it as a closed group in Facebook, which I'm like, so are you guys just gonna sell to each other? Because if it's a closed group, no one's gonna see it. So anyway, hopefully you're doing well selling starts. Everyone up here is going nuts for growing their own food this year. Same's true with all of their foods, both vegetables and, some poultry and some livestock as well. So I hope that you guys are doing well right now. Do you sell at the markets in Soldotna or Kenai? Oh, good. Heirloom and cold hardy plants. Yum. They should do well. Cool. Good deal. Yay, markets. And then do you sell wholesale? Ah, there you go.
Food Hub.
Food Hub. And Evelyn is quite interested all of a sudden in the fact that you sell wholesale. So that's another thing that we can do here is connect each other to things. So that's pretty exciting. Cool. This has just been, wow. I mean, the list of resources is insane. I'm kind of stoked, Nicole. I mean, I'm not selling anything, but I'm going to learn some stuff.
Well, I think part of this, for me, the exciting part is it's been, for years, we're always telling people, know your really trying to promote the connection between the consumer and the farmer. And this is turning out to be such a good way for people to see their farmers in another scenario, another setting. Even if it's, even if they don't buy online, even if they go to the farmer's market, repetition, so it just puts you up into a professional level that makes people aware that, oh, this person takes their farm seriously, or their business or their crafts or their product seriously. And it introduces people to you. So they get a chance to see what a rock star you are. And then they want to go to the concert of the farmer's market and meet you and shake your, well, maybe not shake your hand this year, but definitely at least support you and get to know you and say, oh, I got my stuff from, so building that fame and that connection with consumers is, I think, going to be another benefit of all of these driving people online to do a lot of this stuff.
Absolutely. Yes.
And for places like, if Evelyn's running a store and if she could get some of that heritage poultry, it'll raise both your reputations, I mean, so the store's looking hot shot because they just got some sweet heritage poultry from right over in Kenai. And then this guy's like, oh yeah, I've got a wholesale account. We're shipping to New Haven.
No big deal. We do that. I think it's great. And that's exactly what, I mean, the whole concept of AFMA is to connect people in the markets with each other and to be a support network and be, that opportunity network and figure things out, because you know, we get busy and we get lost, and then we feel alone, and there's no reason to, because we're all doing it. And so I'm just really stoked. These have turned into fantastic learning sessions. Whether we've got a focused topic or not, I always walk away with just something pretty amazing. So I appreciate you guys taking time and just, you know, sharing and being in this space together. I think it's been fantastic. So, and connecting. Yeah, it's important. So cool. Anything else for the good of the group?
Trying to continue these weekly for how long, Jody?
We had said, I think mid-June, I think is what the thingy says, but I can't remember. It's yeah, I think we said, thanks Jeanette. Let me look. I will look on my calendar. My calendar is right here.
Is there a theme for next week yet?
I don't think there's a theme yet.
You guys want to suggest one?
Yeah, suggest one. Heck yeah. Let's see, 18, 25. Through the 18th of June is when we have them. I mean, just tentatively scheduled to be over on the 18th is the last one of June. And I think the concept is that by then things will be hot and heavy and crazy in the market world. And so we didn't want to, you know, step over too many toes, but at the same time, still give people an idea to kind of chat. And especially with COVID in mind, be an opportunity as a sounding board and just oh my gosh, what are you guys doing about this situation? Is kind of what we were thinking that these chats would be, in addition to the stuff that we've done the last 2 weeks with very focused discussion. And then, yeah, I totally agree, Tracy, picking it up after freeze up, talking about it over the winter so that we can do maybe not weekly, maybe bi-weekly, but even just to stay in touch, figure out what people are planning, how they're doing. You know, these conversations are fantastic in the winter time because people can build that platform without the stress of also having to plant and harvest and clean and all the things. So I think that this might be an opportunity to, you know, after, well, you know, kind of the post-COVID or whatever the heck we're doing in the fall time, but to look back and see, you know, did you have a successful year? If so, why do you think that was? And how can you do that next year? And what sort of things can happen there? So I think it's a great idea to, you know, just for that connectivity and that opportunity to reach out and just, you know, see what's up and chat. It's pretty powerful.
My suggestion for next week would be making a concerted effort to invite the Anchorage farmers markets. They're the next wave of markets opening, and it would be really interesting to hear what their experience is because they are in a hot spot and have been, and cautious as a city. And yeah, as things are opening up, that would be of interest to me, and I hope it would be of interest to our Central Peninsula markets.
That's a great point. If we could just,
yeah,
Brad, if we could have people who've already opened talk next week, that would be excellent. I know the former farmers market. Well, yeah, right. Good luck on this. We'll have to see.
Yeah.
But,
good luck having these people speak. But no.
We got a good dose of Brad earlier, Kyra. Before you showed up, the whole conversation was more or less like getting skinny on what Brad's experience had been.
Right, but we also didn't record that. So,
I know. I'm not saying we shouldn't. I'm just saying we got a little inside scoop there. But
yeah, sounds like he was really successful.
We can get him to talk.
Yeah, we can get that guy to open up. But if we manage to get some of that earlier perspective of how people are responding, how people are reacting, and you know, people that aren't even open yet, like we posted on our Facebook page what the changes were going to be, and got some feedback right away. So any kind of feedback, Evelyn's going to have several weeks of experience under her, or a couple of weeks under her belt. So just being able to talk about how the different adaptations are working, that would be cool. And if we can't pull it off for next week, the following week, we'd be able to add in the Homer Farmers Market.
Yeah, that's true.
Heidi, when are our markets opening in the Kenai-Soldotna area?
June 3rd, June 6th.
Okay, so a couple more weeks.
So a couple more weeks, yeah.
Of course,
No,
the food hub here, and
love-
we had a fantastic record-breaking day yesterday with 40 customers plus showing up, very happy to pick up their orders.
For
awesome.
what?
At the food hub yesterday,
Yeah.
42 customers.
Yep.
I see a question here from Evelyn. Does AFMA have any free swag to send out this year?
I don't know.
That's a good question. That would be a Robbie question. We can pass that on to her, because I know that when we didn't have the conference and everything became the online conference, budgets just went haywire. And so she had to like rewrite the budget and get it resubmitted through the USDA, and I don't know where that stands. But that's a really good question, because it's time. We're gonna hit it now. So yeah, that's
You can email her and ask her. I don't mind. I can ask her.
Yeah, I would ask Robbie and include Megan in the email, Megan Gary, because she's going to be the one that'll send it to you. So most likely.
Right. If they have swag, she's sending it to you.
Exactly.
And in note with the AFMA conference, something I wanted to mention was, in line with this conversation, there's the recordings, and one of them was Social Media 101. And so that's already recorded. That presentation's already been given, but it might be a good one, you know, for any of the listening audience who wasn't here today. It's a good one to check out, because that gal had it going on. She knew what she was talking about with social media and how to up your game and how to really get people's attention and how to do it gracefully.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd put a plug for that. I think it's an hour of worth anybody's time who wants to do online marketing.
That's a really good point. Yep. Sweet.
Cool.
Well, if you guys are bored tonight, you can watch in the rain and wind me do a grilling class.
Oh, fun. Oh, Tracy has a good point. The tent talk podcasts. I don't know if you guys have seen those, but those are spectacular.
I've heard that those are really, really good too.
Yeah.
I haven't played. I will work on Anchorage markets.
Okay.
I don't know, but I will.
If you need a second punch, like somebody to back you up and call again and say, hey, I was wondering if you'd present, and give exactly the same line all over again to try and hit them up so they really feel the pressure, you just let us know.
Yeah, I'll let you know. I don't think that any number of calls will make him do it, but that's okay. Yeah, anyway.
But you know, there's lots of options of people that we could have speak for the Anchorage, the different Anchorage markets. So
there are a lot of different markets too, and that's true as well. And so, yeah, absolutely. I'll check in and see with a couple things. Oh, the link to the grilling class? That's hilarious. Let's see. It's on our Facebook page for the farm. So it's, I'll just put the whole thing right here. Just a sec. I'm looking for it. La 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 la. I hadn't even registered until this afternoon, so it was kind of awkward that I didn't even have it on my calendar and I was doing the presentation. So that was weird. But I've rectified that situation, and I'm good. I've registered, so that was pretty silly. Yesterday, oh, by the way, I would like to just let you know that if you are so interested, we had a really fun Walkabout Wednesday yesterday. So each week we have a different theme or topic that we do on Walkabout Wednesdays, and at the farm. And there's the link. to register. Anyway, and we had agronomy lesson with Bob Van Veldhuizen. And we were out in the field and we talked real life research, replicated plots, history of agronomy in Alaska. It was amazing and so much fun. And so we're taking all of our presentations and they're being recorded and we're putting them on our YouTube page. So it'll be on the YouTube page probably in the next couple days, but it was really fun. If you ever want to know about agronomics and the history of agronomy in Alaska and where we are today, you should tune in because it's really fun. But anyway, that's cool stuff. But yeah, I will work on trying to get representatives from Anchorage markets to speak. Evelyn.
When do the Valley Farmers Markets open?
Sore subject.
Oh, sorry.
We don't have any.
Are you serious?
Mm-hmm.
There's not a farmers market in the. How is that possible?
Yeah.
Isn't that
so, anyway
farming land? Wow. Okay.
there is a market in Wasilla, but that market manager, and I don't know who it is, and I work in this world, but I don't know who the market manager in Wasilla is, and they're not part of AFMA and haven't never been. I don't know what they're doing this summer, no idea. And the other major market in the valley is in Palmer, and it's called the Friday Fling, but it's really not a farmer's market per se. It's more of a food and kind of vendor market, with very few fresh farmer stands. Kaylee is trying to work on that and improve it, but the problem is that our farmers can drive to Anchorage, get twice or more as much money for the same product, and so that's what they do. So if we want local, we go to Anchorage to buy it.
Or cars. That's crazy.
There are a few stands that do pop up at farms. So there's, Ann Corinne at Sun Circle Farms has a really nice market. River Bean and his wife have a really good occasional market, that you can come to the site. But for the most part, it's really you really have to drive to Anchorage to get your stuff. Or, as a few of us know your farmer, so you can buy directly from them.
Black market farm products.
Kind of like, hush, hush, don't tell anybody you bought it from me. But we get to pay Anchorage prices out here. Yay! Yeah, we're a little bitter about it, Evelyn, but we are working on the potential of developing a food hub here in Palmer. And if we can do that, we'll be able to change the look of that. And as Jerica mentioned, and she is on the other side of the valley, so she's behind me this way. You guys can see me pointing. Jerica is in Houston area, and she's actually looking at building a physical space for almost like a co-op type idea, or an area where farmers can sell their stuff on that side of the valley, because there's not a lot offered and people are really into it. So she's like looking for that market in Houston. She's got a space. Now it's just the rest of it that costs money. So anyway, there's some really cool stuff that's happening potentially, but right now we just don't have a lot.
And now I know, and now I'll never ask again.
No, it's a fair question. It seems ridiculous. But yeah, it's kind of a bummer. So we're working on rectifying that, sort of.
There's lots of ways we need to work on getting local food everywhere. It's not exactly everywhere yet, but we're working on it.
Exactly. It's here, we just can't get it. So that's fair.
Except on the black market.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, exactly. Oh yeah, cool. I do want a directory. Thank you, Jeanette. That's a good point. I do want a directory.
So I'm going to turn my camera around so you can see it here on my refrigerator. Maybe I can't turn my camera around. Anyway, that's last year's and this year's, and it shows people pay $30 to get their name and address and all their information in there. And it's not just a trifold, it's both sides, and there's 4 columns. So she's done a really good job. Sorry about the camera there.
That's amazing.
Jeanette's on the team of folks distributing that. And yeah, we appreciate that.
That's fantastic. And Heidi, I do this fall time after the madness. You know, when we do all our planning, when we don't have time to do anything, but I'd really like to figure out how you guys did that and the process and replicate something like that up here.
Yeah.
It's amazing the number of intelligent people that I know who have no idea where to buy local food, like 0. They're so disconnected from their food, and they're not stupid humans. They just don't live in this world. And so, and by this world, I mean our world, not like the world we're all in, but like our food world. They just don't get it. And so it's amazing to me. And so I've had people who are like, can you teach a class on where to buy and how to buy local food? I'm like, oh. And then I'm like, I guess I should.
Yeah.
So anyway, I really
in the
like
process of in the process of talking to restaurants around town, Nicole has definitely discovered that restaurateurs, you know, they're just too busy. Yeah, they're not. No, she's there, Jody. Anyway,
I'm here.
There's a huge gap, and they don't have time to look it up, and they don't know how to get a hold of a lot of food.
I would say that was the largest obstacle. I mean, when you add it all up, we were able to free-form talk, and we had a structure of questions, and they were meant to answer the questions, but we just let it all fly, and I just wrote it all down. And so I would say, after boiling it, not understanding where to get local food, who to get it from, how you get it, what do they got, when do they have it, how much does it cost, all of that not knowing was really the main obstacle standing between most of them and getting some or getting more.
Yeah.
It's not just people in the valley. These are people that work with food for a living.
Yeah, you're right.
Right. And that's the thing about the online presence. You know, if we start getting people having presences at their farm, on the online, at markets, at food hubs or whatever, you know, just have as much presence in as many places as possible. I think that will only be beneficial.
I agree. I totally agree. We're going to save the world.
Yes.
Just kidding.
So
One sexy food photo at a time.
There you go. So I see it's just after 5, and I'm going to have to go. Thank you for hosting this conversation.
As well.
We're heading out. It is the future of Alaska. Jerica leaves us with an excellent point. We're moving into ag is the future of Alaska. Yes. You guys are amazing. Thank you. I'll try to get Anchorage Markets next week.
Wonderful.
I'll stop the recording. And then I'll get this recording like I did last week. I'll get it probably tonight sometime, and I'll send it off tomorrow morning.
Great. Thank you, Jody.